What is going on, guys? Bruin Steel here, and welcome back to another WWE broadcast. I'm your host, Bruin Steel, and I'm joined by Canadian Yorker, and tonight we are recapping the Friday Night Smackdown that took place on May 2nd, 2025, and it took place in the Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa. And it is the road to Backlash, which is happening next weekend. So this coming weekend, May 10th, it's gonna start at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So be sure to check that out on Peacock. But anyways, Canadian Yorker, how's it going tonight?
Can't complain tonight. It's been a pretty good weekend and a lot has happened. It's been pretty busy as well, but glad to be here.
All right, so yes, Road to Backlash. I can't wait. It's a Saturday. So let's get started. To open the show, we see Damian Priest. He runs into Solo and his crew backstage and pushes Jacob Fatu, leading to a near pull apart. LA Knight walks right by it on his way out to the ring, saying something about "Let's go talk about this." Sure enough, he hits the ring and grabs the mic. LA Knight, he gets a big reaction. He's still over after losing the title. He talks about being upset over having to be put in the number one contenders match for his youth title match. Why Solo decided to bring himself out here, and then Fatu decided to treat the ring like his own personal jungle gym. But why was that allowed? Damian Priest. He says he understands what
Yeah,
Priest was doing. Huh?
what, what happened?
What do you mean?
Yeah,
Huh?
I think that yeah, I'm here. I think that um yeah, I think what happened in the beginning was kind of crazy, and there's just
Well, I
a lot
didn't
of things
finish.
that's just happened.
I didn't finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, like I said, it's oh, yeah, you said something. I saw you said something. Um,
Yeah, my bad. I
He said he
interrupted you.
understand what Priest was doing had enough to do with him, but at the same time he needs to pick his spots. That brings Priest himself out to the ring. They argue a bit over not getting signal crossed, and Knight tells him not to let his failures become LA's. They quickly turn on each other with Priest saying this is just about him losing the title at WrestleMania. They essentially argued over who's the biggest loser at the biggest show of the year. Priest said maybe if your head wasn't up your ass at Mania, you'll still be champion. Knight reminded him that they don't have a problem right now, but if they keep this going, that's going to change fast. Priest mentioned their match not being scheduled until later this evening, but how about they just do it right now? Out comes the referee, and it looks like it's their match is happening. So yeah, now you can talk. Sorry. How? What are your thoughts on the opening segment?
Yeah, I think that this segment was so it was between Damian Priest and LA Knight. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, like, what's the rush? What's the hurry with Damian Priest actually arguing with LA Knight? Um, because I kind of get that they have a sense of there is some sort of rivalry between them. But at the same time, um, I think that um, it seems kind of rushed and hurried that Damian Priest is going to be going after LA Knight and is probably looking to potentially challenge Jacob Fatu for the title, the U.S. title. Um, I definitely think that LA Knight deserves a chance to get a shot to reclaim his title back. I think that makes sense. Um, at the same time, I believe, Damian Priest should be still feuding with Drew McIntyre for some reason because Drew McIntyre did beat him at WrestleMania, so Drew should want to get a shot again. Um, but it just seems to me that this is kind of rushed for some reason. So because there's no backstory with LA Knight and Damien, so there has to be some sort of connection there made. There has to be a connection made, and there isn't any connection whatsoever.
All right, so moving on to the first match of the Friday Night SmackDown, we got Damian Priest versus LA Knight. They keep reminding us that this is supposed to be a main event, but instead it is the opener. Standard back and forth early on, net breaker from LA Knight for a one count. Priest fights back with a right hand, but Knight with a slam. He goes for an elbow drop, but Priest catches him and goes for a South of Heaven. LA pops out, but Damien gets a big lateral for two. Knight back in control. Elbow, excuse me. Elbow from the top, 2 count. It's more back and forth, even earning this is awesome chance after a battle on the top rope. Priest managed to slide out and gives Razor's edge, but that only gives 2. The straps come down, but South is having his counter again. Knight tried for a DDT, but Priest lifts him up to a broken arrow. He goes outside to the rope, but Knight jumps him there and gets the suplex for another 2 count. Again, the This is awesome chance comes out. Priest clotheslines to the outside. Knight misses a dive and gets hit with a flatliner on the apron as Priest is rolling him back to the ring. We hear boos and we know what's coming next indeed. Solo Sikoa rushes in and puts his hand on Priest, leading to the bell ringing for no contest. Solo then hops the ring and puts hands on Knight too. He goes for the spike, but Priest is back up and stops him, giving Knight the chance to hit him with the BFT. The two down stare each other down and instead of going at it decide to work down and keep going at Solo. Priest clears off the announce table's desk and Knight kicks him out of the ring. That's when Jacob Fatu comes out of nowhere diving to the outside to stop Priest. Knight gets hit with a Samoan drop on the desk shortly after. He follows that with a running hip attack on the barrier on Priest, with Jacob Fatu and Solo standing tall. So the match goes to end contest. Excuse me. The match goes to a no contest. So, what are your thoughts on that match?
To be honest, I think, it's kind of interesting that I could get the fact how LA Knight gets interrupted by Jacob Fatu, and this would be the perfect opportunity for LA Knight and Jacob Fatu to have a match and leading up to Backlash, because it would make sense for Jacob Fatu. I mean, sorry, for Solo Sikoa and LA Knight to have a rematch, because LA Knight got screwed over by Jacob Fatu. I'm sorry, by Solo Sikoa, by none other than Solo Sikoa, and it's and I guess we could have something where um, Drew McIntyre is going to be challenging. I'm sorry. If Damian Priest is going to be challenging Jacob Fatu for the title, which would kind of make it interesting because we can never have that action between Damian Priest and Jacob Fatu. But instead, if we have LA Knight versus Solo, that is the perfect scenario for Solo and for LA Knight to feud, because Solo just screws LA Knight out of a chance to get his title back. Of that. I love that. That's perfect. That's just poetry in motion. But instead, you have the match going to no contest. It just kind of mixes things up. I see that this is just a big mix up now. I don't think WWE is playing its storylines right. So I think that it's I think it's not a bad thing that you have this bloodlineless thing going on. But here's the thing, man. I think that this new bloodline is obviously not working out too well. Obviously, Solo Sikoa has to be taken out by Jacob. I'm definitely calling it, guys. That Jacob Fatu definitely has to kick out Solo, man. Solo has to go through some sort of his own redemption arc. Seeing this thing that he has created is finally just overtaking him and chewing him up and spitting him out, and he has to find his own way out of the situation that he's in. So obviously, I don't think Solo Sikoa likes the fact that Jacob Fatu is a champion. Um, I just I could see that scenario going that way, but WWE can take it anywhere, any way they want. But that's just the way it is now, guys. So that's all I have to say.
All right, moving on to the next match. We got Pretty Deadly versus Axiom. So we got Pretty Deadly taking on the new team of Axiom and Nathan Frazer. So yeah, it was a great match. Not a lot of information on this match. I know there was insane moves. But it says that yeah, they were. It was an amazing match. There was a miss pitfall or kick out or something. I don't know what happened, but you'll see it online. But at the end, Spanish Fly stacked up the Phoenix Splash um, Nathan Frazer and Axiom's doing well on SmackDown. They get the huge win over Pretty Deadly by Pitfall. Pretty Deadly, man. I feel for them, to be honest. But man, Axiom and Frazer, they're like the best team right now. They were on NXT and they are officially they've been called up to the main roster, and I can say it's welcome to SmackDown Axiom and Nathan Frazer. So explains why they dropped the NXT Tag Team titles so they can get called up to the main roster. So they're doing great. I always thought that maybe one would turn on the other, but we have to see if maybe that will go down to the road because there's history of the tag team division that one partner would betray one partner. How many times that has happened? So yeah, Nathan Frazer and Axiom defeating Empton Prince and then Pretty Deadly's team by Pitfall. What are your thoughts on that tag team match?
I think it's great to see that the NXT, the new guys coming up from NXT, these new tag teams coming up are, excuse me, are doing their thing and they're making their mark. That's wonderful. But we're talking about Pretty Deadly, man. I would love to see Pretty Deadly get a shot, to be able to really work out their characters more. Obviously, we have not seen much from Pretty Deadly, to getting their title shots or um, getting a chance to be champions. At least in NXT, um, Axiom, Fraxiom, at least Fraxiom has been tag team champions and they've been dominant tag team champions. But for Pretty Deadly, we haven't really expected much. I think, and Pretty Deadly is some of the veteran group. I'd love to see Pretty Deadly get a push more. Um, it is the way it is, but I'd like to see Pretty Deadly get more shine. Obviously, they need more shine, and Fraxium's coming up as a legitimate tag team. So, why don't we see the men's tag team division get more shine because they do need more shine, and I'm hoping that that's what will happen.
All right, so moving on to the next. Moving on. We got Nia Jax coming out to booth. She got on a microphone and mentions being happy she's back for such a warm welcome. Yeah, Gene, can New Yorker say hi? Welcome back to your girl. While she was gone and Tiffany Stratton was running around like a Barbie doll with her head cut off, she was getting refocused at home so she could return and take back what's hers. Tiffany Stratton comes out. Tiffany says, "Let me guess, Nia, you were going to say that you're going to annihilate me and take my title. Newsflash, I'm not the same Tiffany you used to bully around anymore." She said she would have cashed in on Jax again if it was one of the greatest moments of her career. Then she went and beat the great Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. If she locked up with Jax again, she would beat her too. Jax wants the rematch. Stratton says she won't back down for a fight and will defend against Nia anytime, any place. Naomi, with her new music, comes out. Naomi says it's funny to see these two fighting, considering she was trying to get the title from Nia for months, and it was Tiffany who kept making sure Jax kept it. She made Naomi's life hell, and now she says she changed. Nope, it's Naomi who's changed. She's not the sweet, good girl anymore. She took matters in her own hands, took out Jade Cargill, and took her championship. Jade may have ruined everything she has worked for, but she's not done going after gold. She'll push everyone under a car. You get interrupted by Jade Cargill. The brawl breaks up, and the babyfaces takes the heel out in short order. Nick Aldis shows up and gives us a tag team match. Let's go. I called it. It sounds like it's happening for the main event. Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax and Naomi. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that segment?
I think I like to see how all these storylines are coming together. Jade Cargill is no friend to Nia Jax or to Naomi, for that matter. Um, and also, uh, you know, Naomi doesn't like. I'm sorry, Tiffany Stratton doesn't like Nia Jax. Here's the thing. I think that each of these ladies should be going one on one against each other. Definitely Nia Jax. I believe, as I mentioned to you, that that new Boone Steel, that Nia Jax should get a shot to at least get another shot to get to win her title back, because she was blindsided. Let's face it, Nia Jax was blindsided by Tiffany Stratton, and Tiffany Stratton did beat her to get the championship, and Jade Cargill and Naomi have unfinished business, and they obviously this unfinished business needs to continue well into Backlash. It doesn't make sense for Naomi to go after Jade Cargill's, after Tiffany Stratton's title, after she's dealt with the business that she's done to Jade Cargill. It's really rushed. You know, I don't want to see a triple threat match and or a four-way match between Nia Jax and Naomi versus Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton. That's just too rushed, man. That is too much. That's too much to handle. It just makes sense that Tiffy and Nia should get the should face each other at Backlash. And it's okay if there's a double team, Jade and Tiffy versus Nia and Naomi. But these girls, each of these women need to face each other one on one, to see at least Naomi and Jade should get a chance to have a rematch. And I think, Naomi definitely should get a chance to beat Jade, and then we can have you know, a a triple, three matches, to see who's the better wrestler. Um, Naomi and Tiffy, at least, sorry, Nia and Tiffy. Nia does deserve to get another shot. Let's face it. I believe her spot was stolen by the others who were there in the match against. Charlotte took Nia's spot, so um, it just makes sense that Nia Jax should get a shot, another shot. So here's I just have to say let's see what will happen, um, and let's see what's gonna happen next week.
All right, so moving on to the next match, we got a returning Aleister Black versus The Miz. So Miz and Aleister Black going one on one. That's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, Black opened it up by talking to it, The Miz, and never really let go. Miz tried to get into the match, but Aleister Black was ready for everything. Finally, he managed to knock Black down and take control. He did his thing for a while, cutting off a couple of comeback attempts. Black managed to avoid the skull crushing finale before almost fending off Carmelo Hayes, who was at ringside trying to interfere and hitting back Black Mask to score the pin. So we all knew Aleister Black was gonna beat The Miz. Come on, guys. Despite the interference, Black Aleister Black gets the win, and man, the stare down between Carmelo Hayes and Aleister Black, is that a match that they're gonna announce for next week? Like, holy shit, Carmelo Hayes versus Aleister Black. This kid coming from NXT going up against a legend like Aleister Black. Damn, we need that. But what are your thoughts on Aleister Black defeating The Miz?
I think it's not a bad match. There's nothing wrong with the Miz and Aleister Black having a match. It's definitely a change of pace rather than having the same old wrestlers wrestle every single week. We get a mixed up here. But here's the thing I don't understand about this match. Shouldn't Aleister Black be a heel? And isn't Aleister Black already a heel? And isn't The Miz already also a heel? I mean, obviously we're having a face versus face, and Carmelo Hayes coming out of nowhere and distracting the Miz to defeat to help Aleister Black win in this match just does not make any sense whatsoever. We're having two heels that don't like each other, um, basically, you know, just attack each other, and then you're having another heel come out of nowhere and helping one of those heels to win. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It would have made sense if it was a face person, so one of the people who are the faces, the good guys in the company, the face against Aleister Black or the Miz. Um, it just doesn't make sense to me. So obviously WWE has there was something weird going on with the booking, with the promoters. So and also I think it would make sense if Carmelo Hayes helped Aleister Black to win because he doesn't like the Miz, so we could see the Miz versus Carmelo Hayes. But Obviously, it's just this weird situation going on right now. So let's not see any more of these going on in 2025 for this year for WWE. I don't want to see that happen again. So let's just see. Let's see the booking done the right way. Okay, WWE. Let's see that happen this year.
To correct you, Aleister Black is a babyface, so Carmelo Hayes was heel teaming up with The Miz.
Is he now? So that's the thing. I don't understand this. Aleister Black is a babyface now and helps helps Aleister. I mean, Carmelo Hayes helps Aleister Black get the win over the
No,
Miz,
Carmelo Hayes.
who is
Carmelo
a
Hayes helped try was trying to help The Miz. The Miz and Carmelo Hayes are together.
oh, okay. Now I see now. I see. So
Carmelo Hayes is not with Aleister Black. They had that face off. They're gonna probably feud in the future. Yeah, Carmelo Hayes is not with Aleister Black.
okay. Now it makes sense. This is let's just say this that it's interesting, and let's see what's gonna happen with Aleister Black and Carmelo Hayes. I'd like to see where the storyline is going forward.
All right, so moving on to the next match, we got Zelina Vega going one on one with Pimper Niven. Um, they have Niven wrestling in full black service Hervis gear. She was in total control going into the first commercial break. Green was out doing the most at the ringside. Of course, she was. She's scared. While Niven continues working Vega over, she also, with Elba Fire, interfered when the referee's back was turned. Of course, you're just gonna keep doing that. Pussies, pussies. The usual. Vega made a comeback, got cut off, and Niven got another extended run of offense. Vega finally fought her off, and Green hopped the apron this time. Pimper rushed over to help, but Mega moved out of the way, leading to Chelsea getting knocked down. Dumbass. Vega then rolled Pimper up, and that was enough to win it. Selena Vega defeats Pimper Nivens by pinfall. Yes, let's fucking go, Selena. Let's go. So what are your thoughts on Selena Vega defeating Pimper Nivens?
I think it's great that Zelina Vega is finally the champion. I'm sorry I wasn't there for the last broadcast, guys, but congratulations to Zelina Vega for becoming the U.S. champion, women's champion. That is great to see. And now Chelsea Green is her championship, but she probably want to get it back. I know as much as Boone Steele would hate to admit it, but I think the fact that Chelsea Green is, you know, as much as some of us don't like her, Chelsea Green actually is being a great heel, and she's getting Zelina Vega the proper push that she needs, honestly. And Zelina Vega is just showing how great she is as United States champion. I honestly love this storyline between Zelina Vega versus Chelsea Green and Piper Nivens. This is a great match for Zelina Vega, and she's doing her thing. She's this is a great storyline for this that we could see going into Backlash. Honestly, Zelina Vega and Chelsea Green going at it to get the U.S. title, and hopefully Zelina Vega comes out on top and beats Chelsea Green. This is a great storyline here going forward, and of course, Zelina Vega is definitely going to need help to help her deal with Piper Nivens and Alba Fire. So who is going to be there to help Zelina Vega out against those two? Because Zelina Vega can't do it. She can't beat all three women by herself because she is a small woman. She's petite, so she needs some backup. And who is going to be her backup? Going into Backlash.
All right. So yes, just want to mention that it was later announced that Jacob Fatu will defend the United States Championship in a fatal four-way match. So Jacob Fatu versus Damian Priest versus LA Knight and Drew McIntyre. So that's gonna be a hell of a match. I can't wait to see who's the winner, but we're gonna save that for our Backlash 2025 prediction video. But yeah, any thoughts on that fatal four-way? Just like your thoughts, like do you think it's good booking
Are you
in?
kidding me? Are you kidding me, man? I just mentioned. I just mentioned before that did you hear there's a fatal four way? There's Jacob Fatu versus Damian Priest, LA Knight, and Drew McIntyre at Backlash. Is this really happening? Is this
Yes,
true?
yes, it is.
Oh my, oh man, why is this happening, man? Why in the world is this happening? I would just love to have LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. Why can't we just have that, man? Honestly, Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest need to have their own feud going on. They have no bearing on this. There's no bearing for them on this. In this matchup, they shouldn't be in the championship picture because they should be feuding because they have a history. I don't like this. This is bad. This is bad for Backlash. Obviously, there's no there's no animosity. There's it just doesn't make sense, man. I don't understand what's going on at Backlash, but this is bad for Backlash. But I'll save that for the Backlash. I save that for the Backlash video. But I'm just saying I don't like that matchup at all.
All
That is a
right.
horrible matchup for Backlash.
All right, so moving on, we got Randy Orton. They chant for him after his entrance. He lets them, and then he says, "Welcome to Friday Night SmackDown." Um, Randy Orton brings up John Cena and says, "While the world couldn't see him, Orton could. He took everyone some 20 years to see the kind of man he is, but Randy knew from day one he's a ignorant and selfish. Cena sucks chance. Randy Orton calls Cena a entitled brat that gets whatever he wants. He's the ultimate shiny new toy to be played with by the ultimate puppet master. He said, John, I gotta hang it to you, man. You're smart. You took advantage of the PG era. You were willing and quite frankly eager to be a real life walking, talking cartoon character, while I, on the other hand, did everything to be true who I am. He said Cena didn't care about anyone or anyone except his body line. It has brought him fame, fortune, and into a mainstream. Every month he has a brand new T-shirt with new colors and all kind of other merchandise that the kids will all go grab up. He just wants to make sure everyone loves him even more than they already do. But speaking of kids, Cena claimed last week that he never had a family of his own because he was busy raising the fans' kids. Orton says the only thing he raised was the price of his merch, which the actual parents have worked a double doors to afford anyone anymore. He says Cena has been selling his soul for 20 years now. Hustle, loyalty, respect, right? He gives John the hustle all day, but the loyalty and respect, what happened to that? He's specifically asking about those two things because Cena said he's going to erase the Orton name and everything his family did in this industry. Randy said if it will have to be over his dead freaking body. He claims to be the last real champion, but he's not. He's just the latest legend Orton has to put down. The legend killer is back, folks. He said he's going to punk kick Cena so hard in the Lego shaped head that it will fly right off his shoulders and through the gateway arch, but that's only after he drops him with the three most deadliest, dangerous letters in sports entertainment, RKO. So wow, yeah. What are your thoughts on that segment with Randy Orton?
Yeah, I think this is a good. Um, no, here's the thing: Cena versus Orton is happening. But here's the thing: I don't think that Cena versus Orton should happen this quickly. Honestly, Cena and Orton could have happened later on, a little bit later on down the year, and instead we could have some other person facing Cena for the championship. Um, to me, I think that Randy versus Cena could have happened sometime later, and you know, I think that Randy Orton has a lot to say about Cena because he's known Cena the longest, more than anyone else in WWE. They practically came up together, um, and well, um, if Randy's going to be going on like this at back until Backlash, Randy and Cena are still going to feud after Backlash because Cody Rhodes is out and he was humiliated in front of millions of people after WrestleMania. Does that mean Cody Rhodes will come back and feud with Cena? We don't know that yet. So I think I like how the storyline is progressing between Randy and Cena. So hopefully, I'd like to see this more of this fleshed out between Randy and Cena, leading into Backlash and after Backlash. You know, so let's see this continue. Let's see the storyline build up more and continue. So I like to see where this is gonna go.
All right, so moving on to the next match, we got Ray Fennec versus Santos Escobar. A backstage argument earlier in the night resulted in this match. The two traded big chops, and Escobar could be heard shouting that he's the boss and the two of them should take over the whole place together. Fennec fought back and pushed Santos down, telling him to get back up. Barrett called it a slugfest with none of the luchador style we used for Fenix. They kept calling attention to Ray, not utilizing the style we seen from him, the aggressive, fast-paced offense. Escobar was given credit for neutralizing it. Escobar keeps talking throughout the match, including calling out Rey Mysterio to the camera for picking Fennec over him. He worked Fennec over a bit, taking his time, but before Fennec finally makes the big comeback and get it out yet another victory, he used the Metal Raw for the finish. So Ray Fennec was a huge win over Santos Escobar by pitfall. That's what you get, Santos, for talking shit to Rey Mysterio. You're not over Rey Mysterio? Come on, man. What are your thoughts on Ray Fennec defeating Santos Escobar?
Um, I think Ray Fenix is great, and here's what I think: Ray Fenix, he can wrestle. He can definitely hold his own against the major WWE talent, and I feel like Santos Escobar is being downplayed a little bit. Because let's face it, Santos Escobar came up from NXT looking up to Rey Mysterio, and Rey Mysterio took. Remember, let's not forget what Rey Mysterio did to Santos Escobar. Rey Mysterio took over Santos Escobar's spot, which should have been spot to be WWE, to be United States champion. And let's face it, ever since then, since Santos Escobar and Legado del Fantasma have been going downhill, man. They've been going on a downhill slope, and we haven't really seen much of them. They were not really active last year, so now they're starting to get active again. And Santos has lost his group. Most of his members have been released by WWE, and you know most of his group is gone. It's just Santos, and he's trying to recruit people to rejoin the Legado del Fantasma, but they're just not the same. Another thing is that Santos, after Santos sees that Rey Mysterio he got injured at WrestleMania, Rey Phoenix steps in to be in Rey's place, and I think that makes Santos feels away because Rey Phoenix gets Rey Phoenix gets the spot at WrestleMania, but doesn't get the spot at WrestleMania. Santos has been in WWE for 3 4 years now. Just to me seems like a slap in the face to Santos, man. Obviously, Santos is not getting some shine here, and he needs to, he has to do his thing. Obviously, he did step away from he hasn't been active in the ring because he's been doing other activities, um, and so obviously you'll have that happen. Um, but honestly, I'd love to see some more development with Santos happen. And Ray Phoenix, he's just he and Penta are great. So I think it'd be great to see Penta get involved in this feud a little bit to kind of sprinkle some things in there. So it'd be great to see that happen.
All right, so moving on to the main event, we got Nia Jax and Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. They got at after it right away, stayed true to the stories, everyone brawling with their chief rival. The heels took over quick once the match started properly, and they went. The heels stayed in control, coming back, but the babyfaces finally made a comeback with Stratton getting the hot tag. She ran wild on Jax until Nia cuts her off on the top rope. She got the Samoan drop and followed up with a leg drop, but Naomi tags herself in. They argue about it. Naomi set Tiffany up in the corner for a split leg moonsault, but Stratton gets up the knees, annoying the hell out of Jax. Stratton made the comeback over to Cargill for another hot tag, and she came in going off. She knocked Jack off the apron and singled out Naomi. A chokeslam only to get a 2 count because Nia recovered enough to break it up. She literally drag Naomi into the corner to tag herself. Jax hits the running elbow and senton, but Tiffany came in with the breakup from the top of the rope. The match broke down from there, everyone in and fighting it out. The referee let it ride. Jax ended up squashing both Stratton and Naomi in the corner, turning around and doing the same to Cargill on the other side. She sets her up for an Annihilator, but Jade recovered and picked her up from a big powerbomb, getting the win. So Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill defeat Nia Jax and Naomi by pinfall. After the referee went to hand Stratton the title, but Jade Cargill rips it up and put it on her shoulder. The crowd actually booed this. Then she started to hand the title over, but it looked like they were about to have a tug of war over it. While doing so, Naomi recovered enough to hop and knock Jade into Stratton. Naomi took the title and held it over her head while standing over Jade Cargill, ending the show. So yeah, it was announced that Jade Cargill will go one on one with Nia Jax, where the winner will face Tiffany Stratton for the title. So hopefully it's at Backlash. If not, it's probably just gonna be on SmackDown. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill getting the win over Nia Jax and Naomi?
I think this is kind of makes me a bit torn, man. I think this is a good opportunity for this to happen for Jade Cargill and Nia Jax and uh and Naomi to get a chance to face Tiffany for the title. But I think it's a little too soon because obviously Jade and Naomi still have to finish their feud, and their feud is not over. Uh, Even though Jade beat Naomi at WrestleMania, I don't think this feud is over. It just doesn't make sense that Naomi should be rushed all of a sudden to face Tiffany Stratton. Um, it's just too soon. Nia Jax definitely deserves to have a shot at at at, at the title. I just think that this is rushed a little bit. Obviously, Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton need to finish their feud, and Jade Cargill and Jade Cargill and 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 Naomi also have to finish their feud. I think it's great that Tiffany and Jade won because Tiffany, Jade is Jade winning against Nia Jax again would be a wonderful. It would be a great win for Nia Jax because Nia Jax won because she was able to get inside Jade's head, and distract her, which it did. It worked, and Jade lost to Nia Jax. As for Naomi, Naomi never has faced never Naomi has never faced Tiffany Stratton before. We've never seen them go at it together. Um, I think they did. Maybe they did face each other once, if I'm not mistaken. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, they faced each other once, but they never really had any much interaction whatsoever. Um, I just I just don't want to see this happen at Backlash, where we're gonna have a fatal four way again, just like with the men's division for the U.S. title. Let's not have that happen because obviously you have people there that are trying to that are feuding that need to start and end their feuds, and it doesn't make sense that all of a sudden we should have three people facing the champion to win the belt. That's just too cliche. It becomes cliche after a certain point of time. There are storylines that need to finish and storylines that need to begin. So it just seems that some things are too rushed right now, especially leading into Backlash. It would just make sense to have two separate storylines going on leading into Backlash, and we can see the end result of it. But instead, we might end up with one thing happening, with one person getting the championship, four people out of one out of four getting the championship. Um, that's just my thoughts on it. And I think that obviously some things need to be kept as it is and not changed.
All right, so that would do it for Friday Night SmackDown. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Bruce Steele, this is Canadian Yorker. Let's go to the grading of the show. I thought it was an okay of a show. I don't think it was the greatest, but I liked the fact that Selena Vega beat Pimper Nivens, of course. So yeah, I'll give the show a B.
I think that the show, it wasn't too bad. I do think that the beginning also was little, not too planned out too well. Honestly, it should have just been Jacob. It should have been Solo schooling over LA Knight for Damian Priest to win. That would have been perfect. And then you have Jacob Fatu attacking Damian Priest. So they're showing that Damian Priest is going to be the one that's going to be going against Jacob Fatu. That would make sense. It's great to see that Zelina Vega is getting her thing going on. That's great. Um, and also, I do think that Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax, and Jade Cargill situation needs to be fleshed out more. And each of those ladies, though Cargill and Naomi need to be facing each other at Backlash. Nia Jax and Tiffany need to be facing each other at Backlash, and they have to be separate. They cannot even be together. It just feels a little rushed right now. For the last the triple the Fatal Four Way. Man, that is a horrible booking. That is horrible booking for Backlash. As I said earlier, I don't want to see LA Knight versus Damian Priest versus Solo. That is horrible booking. It just does not make sense whatsoever. Right after we just had WrestleMania, so my grade for this is going to be a B.
All right, so that would do, guys, for Friday Night SmackDown. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Bruce Still, this Canadian Yorker. If you haven't done so, like, subscribe. Check out Canadian Yorker's YouTube channel. Link will be in the description, as well as our wrestling channel, which is WWE Wrestling Bros. That link will also be in the description of this video. And it is Backlash 2025 pay-per-view this Saturday. I believe it's at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so be sure to check out that on Peacock. So yeah. But anyways, take it easy, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of your night. We will be back this week for our Monday Night Raw broadcast and our Backlash 2025 prediction video. So be sure to tune in for that. But anyways, take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Take care.